Okay, guys. So let me actually begin this by putting down my credentials on the line. I've been a football gaming guy for a very, very, very long time indeed. Like I've been playing football games, since the beginning. I mean, I think we're talking sensible soccer, we're talking FIFA International Soccer '94 on Mega Drive, we're talking what they call it, USA '94 on Super NES. We're talking about the whole ball of wax, man. Like I've basically played pretty much every football game. I mean, Striker, which pretty much nobody played with Andy Gray doing the commentary. Adidas Power Soccer and whatnot. Obviously, there have been two stalwarts: Pro Evo, which was originally Winning 11, which morphed into International Superstar Soccer, but became Pro Evolution, and FIFA International Soccer, from EA. Obviously, there's been a lot of back and forth. And, I did a video about this when FIFA '09 came out. And my thoughts between FIFA '09 and Pro Evo and that iteration. Now I think it's time for me to do another one because obviously, as we know, Pro Evolution has come up with the first official reboot of the engine in a very long time. I mean, since Pro Evo 5, I think the one with Thierry Henry on the cover. This has been the first official reboot that they've done with the Fox engine, which is what is being used for Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain, Metal Gear Solid 5, which is coming out on the PlayStation 4. In conjunction with FIFA 14, which has been released, which is on next gen and current gen, or rather last gen and next gen, and Pro Evolution Konami deciding that they were not going to be creating a Pro Evolution game for the next gen Xbox One and PS4 because they felt that the footprint of the initial startup take up from the audience wouldn't be great enough to justify them putting the outlay to make that game, which I think is a ridiculous argument, if you ask me. If anything, they should have actually made just a game for the next gen of consoles and forgotten about Xbox 360 and PS3, if you want my opinion, because they've basically allowed FIFA and EA to get a head start on them. So these guys are clowns. Whoever's making the decisions over Konami are morons. But anyway, we'll just leave that to the side and let's go forward. Now, I originally, if we're going to talk about just these two games, taking out the Actra Soccers of the world. And Actra Soccer, by the way, had the greatest commentary on any football game with Barry Davis, because Barry Davis is one of the greatest football commentators of all time. That's another topic entirely. Now, FIFA had me to begin with FIFA International '94. But I think everybody who's a real football fan, and not just the fair weather guys who just like the glitz and the glam and all that sort of stuff. I mean, the real football guys who actually played the game, who watch it every weekend, who follow a team, whatever it might be, knows that Pro Evo was the real footballer's football game for video games. You just know this. It is not even a debate. There is no debate about that. It's just the facts. There was a point, and I pointed this out in my last video about this, that FIFA '07, the next gen FIFA that came out on 360, was the beginning of where the slide began for Konami and where the ascent began for EA with FIFA. Because FIFA embraced the next gen before Konami did. Now, one would think that Konami would have learned from their lesson and the mistake that they made last time when they didn't take up the next gen quick enough and allowed EA to get in there and solidify themselves with their last engine and not do the exact same thing again. They're literally doing the exact same thing. But we're going to get to that point later. But it's incredible to me. It's shocking. But anyway, that was when the slide began, because you just saw like a different kind of approach to the idea of a 3D immersive virtual experience of football that EA were embracing. Whereas Konami were still stuck in this whole very on rails, linear, like type of game that was cool back in the day. But once you transition, it just wasn't acceptable anymore. Fast forward to now, EA from FIFA 010, I would say FIFA 10, 11, 12. FIFA 10 is when they really just started solidifying the gap from Pro Evolution. obliterated these guys. I mean, when you're talking sales, it's not even you don't even talk about that. The licenses gone, everything gone. Pro Evo began to look like a joke, and it really did. And I think there were so many cataclysmic installations of this game that I left. And, that's crazy because I was a Pro Evo guy. And I actually left, I actually moved over to FIFA, and I was with FIFA from FIFA 09 solidly through till FIFA 12. I mean, FIFA 13, I did get it, but I think that was when I jumped ship. Point in case I'm trying to say now is that when we look at these two games that have come up to the table, FIFA 14 and Pro Evo 2014, there's really something you have to really take into account with these two games. For me, Konami have actually really stepped up this year. There's a lot of glitches, and the only way that I'm going to actually be able to address this is because a lot of people who are listening to this podcast right now will probably be flapping their lips and saying that, hey guys, I've played Pro Evo and it sucks online. Listen, the online is a disgrace on Pro Evolution. It's an absolute disgrace. Like, the fact that a product is put into the shops and people are being asked to pay for something with one of the key components, because I play online mainly when I play football games, mainly online, is so bad that you cannot even play it. That is it's an absolute disgrace, And I went online to see if it was just me, because I was like, wait a minute, is it just me? Is it like maybe my connection or something? It is not just me. It's just a disaster for everybody. Even the Xbox component of the online wasn't even working. They had to send out a patch so the Xbox 360 guys could actually even get online. And when you compare this to how smooth the online features of the FIFA on Xbox 360 is, Konami is like, they're almost trying to shoot themselves in the foot. Like, every step they take forward, they take like 3 back and something else. So it almost negates the advances that they've made. That being said, guys, from the second you play Pro Evo 2014, it is obvious how much better it is as a pure football game than FIFA 14. Anybody who's played football, anybody who watches football, anybody who plays games, it's not a debate. It is just better. It feels better. It controls better. It's more fluid. It's more realistic. The players react better. The overall animations are more real. It looks, feels way more like football than FIFA 14. It's just the way it is. That's not to say FIFA 14 is a crap game. I'm not saying that. It's actually pretty good. But if you're a real football guy, there is not, and I'm talking offline now. Forget the online, which is a disaster on Pro Evo. The offline, it's just a better game. And the thing is, there are still glitches. There are still issues that happen. There is still a lot of weird stuff that goes on. Because what they've done is that not only have they updated the graphics, they've also done this idea of a what should I call it? The ball being separated from the actual players. They've actually done that. And to be honest, that does have a massive, massive impact on the way things are done. It has an absolutely huge impact on the animations. It has a huge impact on the way that the players dribble. It has a huge impact on the way you control the players. It has a huge impact on a lot of things. So that is something that I definitely wanted to highlight when I talk about this, because it's amazing how one thing can have such a market effect on the entire game. And I would say that the separation of the physics of the ball from the players on Pro Evolution, which is something that was sort of promised on FIFA for the last like 3 or 4 years. But when you play FIFA, it's, you just have to play it to know. It still feels like the ball is sort of glued to the player and it becomes part of the player area around the player as you're moving him around. Pro Evo doesn't feel that way. Like, you really feel like, you can sort of get in between a player and the ball, jostle for it. The ball can go in any direction. You can dribble in any direction. And one of the key things about this is that when you're dribbling in Pro Evo, you don't need the skill moves at all. Like, you actually feel like you're manipulating the ball and trying to get around a player and coming up with your own ideas of how you're going to do it, as opposed to doing the same kind of animations and whatever things or same tricks that FIFA would. In fact, FIFA almost actually does accidents and things for you so you can get past people based on how good the player is. So if you're Cristiano Ronaldo, somehow you just can't tackle him. Somehow he's going to run through you and the ball's going to bounce and go right back to him. Somehow it's just all of that sort of nonsense. Pro Evo isn't, it still has that to a degree, but it just isn't quite as dramatically bad as it is in FIFA. Now, in general, this is something that I think is important for guys to know, is I don't slander FIFA just because. I put in a lot of time into this thing. And like I said, I'm a veteran of football games. And FIFA is a game that I put in a real amount of time into. So I'm not a Pro Evo fanboy. FIFA, I've been ranked every game that I've actually gotten and bought and kept. I got to, when they started doing the divisions, I'm a Division 1 player. I've won the whole title in Division 1. I was ranked in the top, 700 players in the world or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I know how to play the game. And I put in a lot of time into playing the game, won all the trophies and everything. So it's not a situation of me not really. In fact, I've played Pro Evo far less than I played FIFA. And that actually comes down to the fact that FIFA obviously is more expansive. You've got more options. The menu screens are 3 billion times better than the Konami Pro Evo screens, which are terrible. And they don't seem to have learned how to navigate that stuff. But I think it's when you spend that much time on something and still you go back to something else, you've got to really examine why that is. And why that is that I'm actually a real football fan. And there's something that Pro Evo, when Pro Evo was at its apex, always gave you as a player that FIFA never understood. And that's the heart and soul of the actual game of football. It's not just about having 3 billion teams. It's not just about having amazing stadium dynamics and whatever. It's not just about having better graphics. It's about the actual heart and soul of the feeling of playing football and the feeling you translate into the pad and into the screen when you're playing the game, so you feel that energy and that rush when you score the goal. The way the net ripples. You remember when people kept arguing about why the nets were solid iron cages for FIFA, and for some reason the net physics of Pro Evo was 20 million times better than the FIFA physics for the net. It's still not as good as Pro Evo's net physics, But the thing is, when I play this game and I see people comment and they talk about the differences between Pro Evo and FIFA, and people just outright dismiss Pro Evolution and just say FIFA is better, it's shocking to me because I don't understand how you can play these two games and not realize how superior a rendition of football Pro Evo 2014 is over FIFA 14. Passing physics, dynamic of the players, the realism and so forth. It's obvious. Anyway, I could go on and on about this, but that's my 2 cents on the differences between the two products. Obviously, FIFA 14 has sold, 100 times more copies than Pro Evo has and will continue to do so. That doesn't mean it's the better product. I actually did play FIFA 14 very briefly on Xbox 360, but I played it quite a bit on Xbox One, and the graphics are stunning on that thing. It's amazing graphics, but it's still got the same problems to me. I mean, you're moving at 100 miles an hour. The players' animations don't look or feel realistic. It's too easy to score. From anywhere, long range. I score some of the most incredible goals that I've ever seen in my life, and it just doesn't feel as connected to reality as Pro Evolution does. So in fact, I would actually go back to the PS3 Pro Evo 2014 rather than play the Xbox One FIFA 14, without a doubt. It's just a better game. It's more enjoyable to me, Anyway. That's all I got to say. The website, www.talkbackworld.net. Radio show is back for all things in fandom, games, movies, cartoons, whatever. Go to the website, you get the information on the radio show on Blog Talk. It's going to be on 4 p.m. GMT UK time, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 11 a.m. Eastern time US. And yeah, I mean, I'll be talking about everything to do with games. I mean, it's a big time now. I mean, we're making that big shift for the first time in a long time to another generation of games and another generation of consoles, should I say. I think first time in like 8 years or something, since 2005. And, people are picking sides, and I know what side I'm on, and I'll probably put up a podcast about my thoughts about the differences between the two main systems. But in closing, I just wanted to say that, I think these games are supposed to be fun and enjoyable. And I can't say I ever really truly had a lot of fun playing the FIFA games. It was always more of a frustrating experience because of the way the game mechanics work. And I do still get joy out of playing Pro EVO. And I think that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. Is like those Konami guys somehow manage from the depths to pull out that feeling you had when you were young playing games, where you actually start smiling when you're playing it. When you score a goal, you feel like just that thing. And it's hard to describe to people who don't understand. But as a football fan, I tell you guys, like, look, forget the online because it sucks. But if you want a good football game this Christmas, you want a good football game this year to buy, give Pro EVO 2014 a shot. Even if you're going to get FIFA 14 as well, give Pro EVO 2014 a shot. You won't be disappointed.